Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we'll be talking about the ColdStart Coding Challenge and the different challenges that will be coming up in the coming weeks. It has a very interesting stories and a very interesting prizes to win. This is Hassan from Microsoft Reactor Abu Dhabi, and I'll be here with you to bring all your questions that you have to Nick, who's the developer engagement lead at Microsoft, uh, who's going to talk to us about this challenge and everything that is coming up in the coming weeks. So we are so excited to have you here with us, Nick, and would love to know more about this challenge from you and learn about all the questions that will come from our community members.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Hussam, for having me. So yeah, I'm really excited to announce this and to actually get started with this challenge, this series of coding challenges. So let me share my screen so you can actually see what we're talking about. Okay, so ColdStart Challenge. So as mentioned by Hussam, I'm the developer engagement lead at Microsoft. So I'm based in Belgium. And so my role within Microsoft is basically to engage with developers, no matter where they are. And so what is this ColdStart coding challenge? So it's, as mentioned, it's a series of 6 fun coding challenges, which we will be hosting on GitHub. So you'll find all of the descriptions and all of the kind of the starter applications. You will find them on GitHub in our public repo. And so the goal of these coding challenges is really for you to kind of discover and learn about Microsoft Azure, but also about some of our other developer technologies. So it's not exclusively Azure. Of course, a large component is of course focused on Azure. And as you go through these challenges, you'll discover. I hope you'll discover some new things about Azure and our tools. But it's really about giving you that hands-on experience. So we've gone through many online sessions where you either read stuff and you hear about stuff, but really learning in depth is by trying out things yourself. And so this is what we wanted to achieve with these series of coding challenges. And so we will be releasing one challenge every 2 weeks. Because we really want to give you kind of the time to kind of explore first. You learn some new things, and so you need to let it sink in and try out some things, experiment a bit before maybe you're ready to actually go into a specific challenge yourself and solve it. And so hence why we wanted to spread these challenges over time and give you like these 2 weeks for each challenge to complete, because that really gives you the time to really learn and then apply your knowledge. So what are these different challenges? So in the first challenge, which we just released, so we launched the first challenge yesterday, is really about, so we're talking about a fictitious company here, and I'll go into a little bit more detail in just a minute. So the first challenge is really about how do you get an online presence for that business? So how do you spin up a website? And so for that, we will be using Azure Static Web Apps, which we'll dive into a little bit more detail as well. And it's also going to be about Azure Queue Storage, so queuing. So because in our specific business scenario, what's going to happen is people get kind of an e-commerce shop. The customers will be going to that website and they will be pre-ordering some stuff. And so all of those customer orders will be stored in a queue. And so this is kind of the scenario for the first challenge. So some basic stuff around getting a website online and then capturing some requests from customers. And then as we go to the next challenge, it will be how can we expand this online presence? One, by adding some personalization, so adding some artificial intelligence, but also it's going to be about putting in place some databases so that we can actually store what is coming from customers, our catalog of products, maybe, well, basically make it more robust in how we deal with all the data in our application. Then the third challenge is really going to be about, we've received those challenges and they've been put in that queue. how can we actually process those orders, those customer orders coming in? So it's about building that backend for that e-commerce application. So this is really going to be about how do you apply, for example, things like containers. How do we use serverless? How can we use, for example, NoSQL databases? And then our fourth challenge is really going to be about deliveries. So how can we build mobile applications such that our team of delivery people, so the people driving around with the trucks to deliver the goods at our customers, can actually track their orders. So where do they need to deliver something next? But also from a customer perspective, how can you track your specific delivery? So you've ordered something, so how do you track where your order is right now? When will it be delivered? So this is kind of the concept of the fourth challenge. So this is a bit about, again, a little bit of mobile development and also some web development again. And then our fifth challenge is again going to be focusing a little bit more on machine learning and artificial intelligence, where we're going to look at, well, based on actual demands that are coming into our website from customers, how do we need to scale basically our application? How do we need to scale? How do we need to forecast how much delivery capacity we need? And so all of that is going to happen in our fifth challenge. And then in our last challenge is really about quality monitoring and checking the actual delivery when it is happening. How can we track, for example, using IoT sensors? How can we track, for example, temperature? How can we track other metrics like humidity and so on and so on? And how can we send alerts maybe to the delivery staff driving around in those trucks? So doing some alerting and getting some telemetry as well. So this is going to be our series of challenges. So we will be covering some IoT, we will be covering some data services, some machine learning, some web development, some mobile development. So really we want to give you kind of an end-to-end experience and hands-on experience with our Azure and development services. So looking at the specific schedule, so as mentioned, our first challenge was released just yesterday. So the February 22nd. And so as mentioned, so you'll have 2 weeks for each challenge. So here you can see as we go from challenge 1 to all the way to challenge 6. So basically we're planning on ending by end of May. So the 24th of May should be kind of the ultimate deadline for submitting your last challenge. So for each, and maybe also interesting to mention that as you go through multiple of these challenges. So after 2 weeks, after releasing a challenge, we will be releasing a potential solution for you. So for example, on March 8th, we will be releasing a solution for the first challenge, which was released just yesterday. So let's say you only start with these challenges as of challenge 2. Well, you can take our solution and build from that one if you want to. So you can always catch up along the way as new challenges get added, because we will be releasing kind of the intermediate solutions for you to kind of continue to build on. What is kind of the backstory? Because I talked about, well, all of these different challenges and kind of an e-commerce shop. And so where does the name ColdStart actually come from? Basically, it's really a story about 2 little penguins that are starting a new business, and their business is about delivering ice cream to their customers. So they have an ice cream home delivery service. It's kind of a very fictitious scenario, and so these penguins, well, they know about business, they know about making ice creams, but they don't know about spinning up an IT infrastructure. So they really need your help. And so on our GitHub repo, you can actually find a more extensive backstory about these 2 penguins. So the whole history is explained there, and it's kind of a fun story. It's really just for entertainment purposes. Here you can actually see some kind of a mock-up of a website that you will be building, where customers can actually see the different types of ice creams, and they can pre-order an ice cream, and that will then basically go to the scenario of kind of filling in their shipping details and actually get all of the things happening, getting the shipments to happen behind the scenes. Now, what is in it for you? So the purpose is really about learning these Azure services and getting some hands-on experience. But of course, it's always fun to kind of get something along the way as well as you do all of the work, and not just get the intellectual satisfaction of learning something new, but also really about, well, getting something physical in your hands because of going through these challenges. And so what we've come up with is really this concept of where you can actually collect stamps. So you can see here on the little card on the screen there. Actually, we have 6 challenges, and so if you complete like 3 out of the first 5 challenges, basically what we want to do is we want to give you an IoT device. So it's going to be a Raspberry Pi 3 plus a specific extension for the Raspberry Pi 3, which gives you kind of an LCD or kind of a LED display, and it also has all of the temperature, humidity sensors on that extension as well. And so the idea is that as you go through the first 5 challenges, you complete 3 of them, we will give you that IoT device, because you will use that IoT device then to solve the 6th challenge, which was all about IoT, because we want to kind of track the delivery. We want to track temperature, humidity of the delivery truck. Well, you will be using that physical device to complete that 6th challenge. So this is kind of where we want to kind of give you an incentive to go all the way to the last challenge, to that IoT challenge. And so we want to help you there to make it really tangible, where you can actually solve it and you can actually see it real in real life, how that is going to work, how you can measure the temperature, how you can send alerts to the device and display something on these LED on this LED screen. So this is what we really have in mind for you, so to kind of give you that extra incentive. Now, how do you get started? So basically, everything, so as mentioned, everything is being published on a public GitHub repo, and so you can go to that GitHub repo just by going to aka.ms/ColdStart challenge, and so there you will see kind of the description of the different challenges. You will see if, like for example, for the first challenge, we will give you kind of a starter application, so you don't have to start from scratch building that website. We will give you already kind of a framework of where you can start to build on. Of course, you're free to build your own website as well, so you don't need to start from the starter template. It's just kind of to give you a quick start to begin with these exercises. And so you can clone or fork our repo, so you get the starter application, and then basically you do all the work in your own public repo. And then as you complete a specific challenge, what you'll do is you will submit a custom issue in our GitHub repo. So there we have created a challenge solution submission issue in our repo that you can then create and link back to your repo, to the work that you've done to complete a specific challenge. So maybe just a quick show here, and let me again share my full desktop so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. Just 1 second, and there we go. So here you can actually see our GitHub repo. And so here in the main README page, you will see kind of a description. What is it all about? And then here you can actually link off to the first challenge. So if you go to challenge 1, basically you will see what is the purpose of challenge 1. So it's really about getting ColdStart, which is the name of our business, on the web. So we want to give it an online presence. So what is the description? So you will need to create a website. You have the link to the starter web application. You will need to save basically the customer pre-orders, which is a JSON document. You will store that in a queue, an Azure queue. What does that look like, that specific pre-order? So here you have like a sample JSON document. And then in here, what are kind of the very specific challenge objectives? What should you be delivering? So we need to build a website hosted on Azure Static Websites. We need to authenticate users to be able to pre-order something, and then as a customer pre-orders something on the website, they will actually that will generate basically a JSON document which you will store in that Azure Queue storage. Okay. To get you started, so we have the starter website, which is available in the repo. And then also we have a number of learning resources. So what are static web apps? How can you build one? Kind of a quick tutorial on how to do it. How does authentication work? And similar for the Azure Queue storage. What is it? Just a quick start to basically get how to use these Azure Queue storage services, and also kind of a tutorial on how to use it with, for example, Node.js. So we'll give you, really want to help you along the way, and so as you go and solve these challenges, how do you submit them? So as mentioned, if we scroll all the way back up here, you will see here in the issues in our repo, what you can do then is you can create a new issue, and there you can actually see the challenge solution submission. If you do get started, that will give you kind of a template of what you need to fill in. So you'll say, for example, my challenge submission for example, challenge 1. You can provide your name. You can provide your link to your repo. So for example, mine, that would be github.com/my GitHub, and that would be, for example, challenge 1, something like this. Yeah. Or specifically for challenge 1, for example. So you just fill in this issue, and basically that's all it takes to get started and submit your solution. Okay, so as mentioned, you will be using Azure Static Web Apps, which is a technology for hosting web applications on Azure, and then specifically kind of single page web applications, something like, and this is the starter application that we provide is based on Vue.js, which is a front-end web framework. And so with Azure Static Web Apps, you can actually easily build and host that website on Azure, have kind of the front-end part, also have a backend component to that website, all in one easy-to-use service. So this is what you will be learning about and discovering as you go through Challenge 1. The second service is about the Azure Queue storage, which I've talked about, is really about capturing these JSON documents in a queue, which we can then, in Challenge 3, we will then use all of these requests coming in and process in our backend system. Okay. So Static Web Apps is really about creating this unified workflow. So behind the scenes, Static Web Apps will be using GitHub Actions to kind of, as you submit or as you make code changes to your web application, whether it's the APIs that you will be changing, or whether it's the front-end part, your Vue.js or React, it will trigger a GitHub action and it will automatically deploy your website onto Azure. So as you commit your changes and as you push them to your repo, basically automatically your website will be changed and will be live automatically. Yeah. So the APIs that are being used within Azure Static Web Apps are actually using Azure Functions. And so we will have integrated authentication and authorization as part of the Static Web Apps service. And this is what you will be using as well, because you only want to kind of allow registered users or authenticated users to submit pre-orders, because you need to have their contact details. And so people will need to authenticate, for example, using Twitter or using a GitHub account, and then they can actually trigger the pre-order functionality of your website. So GitHub Actions, as you do a pull request or you push some code, it will trigger the action. And then as a result of that, the static web content, the Azure functions, so the APIs that go with your website will be deployed and are basically contained in a single service within Azure, being static web applications. So I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like. So if we go to the Azure portal, which you can see here, I have already created a static web application. If I go and navigate to this one, what you will see in here is basically you will see kind of the URL. So where is the website actually sitting? And so if you connect to it, so this one, it may take a few seconds because it's kind of spinning up right now. I haven't used it quite recently. So it's loading the data, and here you can actually see all of the different ice creams that we have in our catalog. And then you will see that we have the capability of authenticating using a number of authentication providers. Yeah. So this is what we will be building in challenge 1. There you go. So and so here in the Azure Static Web Apps, you can actually see our functions. So which APIs do we have in there? So this will take a few seconds. So I need to get my catalog of ice creams. Potentially, I need to get a specific order that I've created, and also I need to post a new order. So this is really pre-ordering something as a customer, which will actually write then a message in our queue. And so the Azure Storage Queue, which you can see here. So this is part of Azure Storage. We can create a queue, and in there we will create a customer orders queue, which, as you'll see here, I have created a message. So I have created an order previously. Let me open up the message. And so here you can actually see the JSON document that goes for that specific customer order. So I was logged in with my account. I've ordered ice cream ID number 1. It has a specific status. The driver has not yet been assigned. I've provided a shipping address. And so the last position right now is not available yet because the customer order is not yet in delivery, in shipment. Okay. So this is what you will be building and for which you'll be using the specific services. So Azure Queue Storage is basically just a queue which we can then address from multiple programming languages to write messages in there or to read messages. Okay. Kind of to wrap up, how do you get started? So we mentioned already, just go to our landing page, go to our public repo, so aka.ms ColdStart challenge. So this will point to our GitHub repo. Just grab the starter application or build a new application, web application from scratch. And then here too, kind of quick links to tutorials to get you started either with static web apps or to get you started with Azure Queue Storage. So how do you write and read from a specific queue using Node.js, because maybe your backend for your static web app will be written using Node.js. And so we want to give you kind of these two resources to get you along the way. Okay. With that, I want to wrap it up. So not sure if there's any questions you may have. Feel free to ask.
Thank you, Nick, for this overview of the challenge. It's so awesome to see how we can connect all these different Azure apps and services together to build this project towards the end. And obviously, there'll be some stuff to win and the Raspberry Pi and the display to work on the IoT project. We're getting some questions now from the members, one of which was on the cart. So will there be an add to cart feature in any of the challenges or part of challenge 1?
It's part of challenge 1. So in challenge 1, you will be you will have to put the functionality in the starter application for customers to order one of those specific items. So if you spin up the starter application just like that, it will just give you the website and display basically the catalog of items. But there won't be any add to cart functionality in there yet. So that is up to you to kind of implement that functionality. You can make it very basic and just say, as you click on a specific item, that could be just order that specific item, provide your shipping details and just order it. Or you can really implement a full scale kind of shopping cart functionality within the website. So you can make it as simple or advanced as you like. The only thing we're asking of you is kind of allow customers to kind of order an item from your website. Yeah. So that's basically the goal of challenge 1. So shopping cart functionality, yes, indeed, but it does not have to be kind of a mission critical shopping cart experience. It can be very simple as well.
There's a question also about the Azure credits. Will there be anything provided for the members to build these solutions?
Yeah, so what we have for you, so if you don't yet have an Azure subscription, I think it's posted also in our GitHub repo. If you don't have an Azure subscription, just reach out to us through Twitter, and we can provide you with an Azure Pass so that you can get started. Many of the services that you will be using have a free tier as well, but you need a subscription first. So either you can go for a free trial, so you can just create a free trial and get your Azure credits, or just reach out to us and we can set you up with an Azure Pass just to get you going. So all the details are on the GitHub repo.
I shared the GitHub repo link with the members in the Q&A tab, and we're recording the session, by the way, so we'll put it also on our YouTube channel with that link. If you wanted to go back and check any part about, the different challenges that we have discussed today, and also I shared the free tier for Azure. So as Nick mentioned, you can either reach out through Twitter or subscribe using the free tier on Microsoft Azure website. I'm not sure if we have any more questions coming. We're almost on time, so yeah, we're excited for this challenge. Honestly, I love the idea when it first came and you were talking about it. It had all the interesting part about connecting all the technology together and also having it in a fun and interesting way. So I believe the community members will enjoy it, and definitely there's stuff to get towards the end.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
Thank you so much, Nick, for coming today and joining us. We definitely would be interested in having some future sessions where have these small sort of updates about the challenges and what's happening to guide us through the next steps. And again, everything we will put it on the YouTube channel for everyone's reference. So if they couldn't join us live, they can definitely tune in on the Reactor YouTube channel and find it there. I see a lot of people are excited already in the Q&A. So we look forward to having you. Check out the GitHub repository and start coding. The first challenge is out there, and you can start right away.
Definitely.
Thank you, Nick, again. We look forward to having you again in the future. Stay safe, everyone, and we see you in the next one.